By CDOT's definition, this is a significant project. So it requires a transportation management plan or TMP, and that has a whole list of different requirements that it needs. So some of the requirements of that are just the basic things of how are you going to get cars through your project on a daily basis. Some more complex things come down to how are you going to get cyclists through, or even in a terrible scenario, what about emergency response vehicles? How are you going to get those through, like an ambulance or something like that? So the main coordination point of that and planning of that was how much are we going to allow the contractor to have open to construction, such as a one-lane closure? What is the length that we're going to allow that one-lane closure to take place and still allow traffic flow to get through, as well as EMS response? State Highway 71 is an extremely low volume road. We are talking like less than 1,000 ADT. So an extremely low volume of traffic. You saw a car maybe once every like 5 minutes or so. It was extremely low. So that became hard because the contractor really wanted to go as long as they could with a one lane closure, because queue times never really got very high. So it was a give and take process to allow them enough room to work, but still maintain traffic flow and get them through. So we worked alongside the contractor and the traffic department at CDOT. And so we were able to extend the lane closure a little bit longer than the typical allowed amount. So we did get it a little further than what is recommended. And what we did to do that was we monitored queue times, we monitored traffic patterns throughout the day to see if there was high volumes at certain times of the day or not. And another important point was that EMS response time that they have out there. It's a very rural area. So the ambulances, fire trucks, police, whatever it may be, are traveling from a further away distance and having to use that road as the main route to get through. So part of that was keeping lane closures to a workable distance, but also a minimum distance. That way we had quick queue times. And if we did have a ambulance or emergency vehicle come through, we had coordinated with the flaggers. They had radios to radio to the other flagger and to the TCS as well, that such whatever piece of EMS equipment was coming to stop all their traffic and move the traffic that was in the one lane closure or going through the work zone into the actual closed lane to allow EMS personnel to just go blow through basically as fast as they felt comfortable. With the TMP, we were able to use the majority of it during construction, but with all types of construction, there's always an unknown or something that comes up during construction that no one really considered or thought about. And that biggest one was the overall quality of the FDR through a major rainstorm. In the summer of 2022, out in our rural areas, we had a ton of rain in the beginning of that year. And that was unforeseen, unexpected. We had huge major storm events, and that amount of rain actually flooded the road in multiple locations. It did wash out culverts that were on county roads. And so a lot of county roads ended up being closed around our project zone. We had anticipated that those county roads could be used in the event that there was some issue on our project and we had to get traffic around us, or including EMS traffic around us if something came up. Because all of the majority of the county roads had a washout and they were closed, they were not traversable, we had to be extra mindful of how we were handling traffic in our work zone. So it was really important, and we made extra cautions to allow, even if we had traffic in our work zone, that we could pull the paver off or pull whatever piece of equipment off and shove through traffic, whether it be hot asphalt or on the shoulder, to get them around the issue and move them along. So part of that was coming up with that, as well as coming up with alternate routes using county roads that we were not planning to use because of the severe washouts. So our potential emergency vehicle detour routes changed from the initial plan to what we actually ended up with that construction.